what you and I both do that others can do that is effectively cheap and reasonably affordable for everybody, and then talk a little bit about what the next layer of activities are to maximize. So let's go back and forth. I'll start with sleep. I didn't get enough sleep last night, but I prioritize it. I used to, in medical school, shoot for 5.5. I considered my stability point, but I just sat down with Matt Walker for an hour, and the stats are staggering. There's nobody who can actually sleep under 6 hours and have good health. We need at least 7, closer to 8 hours to be able to do that. I use an eye mask. I use a cooling blanket. I use basically a process of bringing the lights down and ultimately getting myself to bed at the same time every night, which is like 9:30 because my eyes pop open at 5:30, 5:45. Similar for you?
Yeah, so exercise and sleep are my downfalls. I have worked on it as well. I was talking with our mutual friend Tony Robbins about this, and Serena Poon. We were also on a podcast, an Instagram Live to be specific, and we were comparing our sleep patterns. And after that, we followed up with our actual sleep measurements. We're all measuring it, and I thought I was bad. I was getting an average of about 5.5. Serena, by recollection, I think Tony was less than 5, and then Serena was 4 point something. So here we are professing get sleep, and we are, the worst offenders of probably most people. So I think that I freely admit that I'm not perfect, and I am striving. You mentioned some hacks. I have a bed that reduces my body temperature, so I get better sleep, deeper sleep. I use other things such as dimming lights as well. But I do need to do better. One of the things that's not well appreciated is, why is it so important to get sleep? Now, there's 2 things. New discoveries have said that it's a way of cleaning the toxins out of the brain. There are draining channels that pump when we're asleep. That's important. That's even true for flies, fruit flies. The other thing is that these longevity genes that we've worked on for years, called the sirtuins, control not just our longevity clock, our biological clock, but they also control our 24-hour clock. And when either of those clocks gets messed up, they affect each other. And so by sleeping well, you also slow down your rate of aging. Interesting.
Let's get to exercise next. It's a weak point for anybody busy, but one of my takeaways from this longevity platinum trip I just finished, because everybody was over and over and over stating exercise is one of the most important, if you would, complements to any longevity plan. And if it was a drug, it'd be a multi-trillion-dollar drug. How far are we from exercise mimetics that can help maintain muscle mass?
Well, I think we're already here. It's just not well known. So the first thing is that exercise plus these mimetics gives you a double bang for the buck based on animal studies and some hints in human. One of the molecules that we've worked on for many years, resveratrol, is an exercise mimetic, makes mice run further, gives human more energy. The one that's more recent from my work is called NMN, not to be confused with M&Ms. Please don't switch those out. But NMN is a precursor, and Peter, I'm
imagining everybody who knows your work and who's read David's amazing book, Lifespan, yes.
So with NMN, the mice run further, and it's even better if they exercise. But we have new data from Metro Biotech, which was spun out of my lab 10 years ago, and using a molecule that also raises NAD in muscle and other tissues, those people had increased endurance, as well as lower other parameters such as cholesterol and blood pressure. So again, probably an exercise mimetic. I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. Working with the military, who are helping sponsor these trials, I'm now allowed to say that.
I saw the news when it came out, when it was leaked. Yeah.
Well, I went on Joe Rogan's podcast, And he asked me about that, and I got in huge trouble for even mentioning it. And that's all I did. I mentioned it. And then the military put out their own press release a couple of years later, and I thought, okay, all right, now I can talk about it. But we're also, and we're just increasing the number of patients there being tested by another 100. But that study's gone really well. And so I think that this NAD boosting is one of these exercise mimetics. Are we going to be in a world where we just pop a pill and we're just as fit as we would otherwise be? We're a long way from that, because exercise does a lot of things. There's an interesting new molecule called LAC-Phe, which is a little lactate plus phenylalanine, an amino acid, which was shown in a recent paper that is what stimulates hunger after exercise. And one of the reasons it's hard to lose weight after you exercise, or if you exercise. And so there are these discoveries where we're able to manipulate our physiology and our mental state as well. And those things, I think, together will help us. But also products that you mentioned, like the PCSK9 inhibitors, are also helping people lose weight and bring their metabolism back to more of a healthy, lean state as well. And I just want to encourage people to try and lose weight if they are overweight, because there's really few things that really accelerate the biological clock. It's smoking, it's lack of sleep, but it's also obesity. So try and bring your body down to a BMI of around 25 or less. It'd really help.